Okay, we're live. Hello and welcome to the Quantum Light Consciousness podcast. We have with our guest here, Nalinee. Now, Nalinee is a soul healer, a channel, an artist, a singer, an oracle card reader, a scribe of light language, and a conduit of the all. She is a provider of light language sessions and energy work with her practice, Soul Connections Through the Heart. Her main objective is to show the way of a state of self-empowerment, self-love, creativeness, and oneness within the heart. The sessions she offers transmit DNA healing, DNA activations, and soul remembering. She's very excited to offer insight and wisdom, which includes transmissions and messages from Thoth, the Lyran Council, Kuan Yin, and many more intelligences on her YouTube channel, Nalinee Soul Connections. With her powerful yet gentle channeling abilities, she's able to guide many to a state of peace, empowerment, and oneness. Welcome, Nalinee, to the show. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm well, thank you.
Good. I really wanted to get you onto the show just because I've seen a lot of your YouTube videos and I've seen the work you've been doing in the community and how grounded and centered you are and how practiced and disciplined you are in bringing through that grounded force of healing energy from the heart. I figured my viewers would totally benefit from what you have to say, and not to mention, like, you're a very, very talented and incredibly dope artist. Like, the art you create is actually groundbreaking. It inspired me, and it definitely inspires a lot of people around the world. So I just wanted to ask you a few questions about what you're doing. The first question I had was, like, what is your biggest inspiration to creating your artwork?
It's when I get into drawing and painting, it's one of the very few things that remind me why am I here. It's beyond the intellect. It's one of those things when you sit in that space and you're just like, yes, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I had a bit of a very confusing childhood. I've been through depression. I've, not knowing, feeling like I don't belong, really. But when I get into that space of drawing and painting, it becomes that centeredness, that groundedness, and then confusions and doubt just slowly disappear. I've started off painting portraits though, and then I remember one day I'm sitting in this room. It was about 5 to 6 years ago, and I was thinking that it must be something else than just painting what I see. So I started to meditate, and then things just started to flow since then. My art shifted, purpose of living, purpose of painting shifted as well.
Wow. Okay. So basically, you kind of had an awakening through meditation and kind of getting into that inner space and then bringing through the energies you've found in your meditation.
Yeah, I didn't have that term awakening. That term wasn't available for me. I would have to say that the process started from coming out from depression, coming out from resistance, and slowly accepting people around me, slowly taking responsibility of my emotions and my thoughts, and got back into painting, and then started to meditate. And it was one of those things when, okay, there's something else there, and then people just start coming in and talking about spirit guides, and the term awakening came in, light language came into my awareness, and it started from then.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because I know that's where a lot of people end up awakening is really getting into that inner space and really cultivating that self-awareness and that I am presence And which is totally evident in your artwork. It's totally absolutely amazing. So like, do you have a process to channel like these beings that are coming through in your artwork?
Process is
Yeah,
different
like,
in
do you have
different situation.
like, do you see, or do you like hear sounds or emotions, or kind of
Yeah.
like, or you just go off the energy?
So first, if I'm sitting and anchoring intention that I want to paint something for my own inspiration, it was started by, it's different, sometimes meditation, and then I would ask the universe and my guides, okay, I'm ready to paint, give me a vision, I know that something is going on, here's a theme of the current energy, and then visions would come. But the flow starts when the action begins. When the drawing start, more information would come through, more codes, more structure, more form, more character would come through. And it becoming clearer to me now that I'm not just a scribe, but I'm also a creator in a way. I do take part in, okay, let's add a feline hint here, let's add a Arcturian hint here, for example. But when I paint custom light codes for others, after booking, which I take that as a permission, I would tune into their name and I would ask them, okay, I'm here as a scribe, please deliver in clarity what is relevant for the client in this moment of time. And it will come through, and then again, I will sit and paint accordingly to what comes. So yeah, so that is the general process.
Okay. Yeah, because I've interviewed other artists and they basically say the same thing. It's kind of like they get an inner feeling after they consult with their guides, and they kind of have to go in that inner intention and that that feeling of reassuredness that they're going in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, what are the biggest things we can do? Like, I guess besides that, but I guess those things might be already the biggest things to get in the flow. Like, to bring about joy. Like how can we get into the flow and then bring about joy, like in the now?
I find the practice of getting into the breath really helpful in every situation. Doubt rises, insecurity rises in creative flow, in creative activity as well, but it's just all about being not so much in the head, not so much in the should or shouldn't, right or wrong. Be mindful of that, but then again, bring the focus back into the heart and engage in the process of now. And like you said, you know, artwork is such a important thing, like music, like creative activity, because it brings in that logic and imagination intertwine into the present. So that is the most important thing, just to be in each moment of now and continue to create. And I feel that that is the symbol, that is a representation of way of living as well. Being each moment and just going with the flow, not knowing how it's going to end. And often piece of artwork turn out to be different to what you expected. That also a symbol of life. You know, it's just, everything is just unexpected.
Right. Yeah, that's totally true. Like when you're doing a piece, it's like it's like there's always that factor that it may not turn out like good, but then like sometimes it turns out then like better than you could ever expect.
Yeah, it teaches you not to expect, basically.
Right. Awesome. So how can we build a practice to kind of like live from the heart, like because like as we're talking about, it's hard to expect what's coming next. It's hard to know like what tests are going to be around the next corner, who's going to show up, what's going to happen next, and how can we like continue to like get back to like where we're supposed to be, like where we're supposed to be living from, which is the heart center, like getting back to that inner light and peace
Be
consistently.
mindful. That practice of mindfulness. I'm not talking about any religious doctrine, but it's about you are being mindful of the current emotion that rises and falls. You're being mindful of your thoughts, the mental structure, the belief system. And it's not about suppressing, it's not about avoidance. It's about, okay, I'm being mindful of my doubts, I'm being mindful of fears and anger, but I have a choice here. I have a choice to be in my heart. I have a choice not to continue to focus into worries and fear cycle. I have a choice to trust. I have a choice to be in each breath and be in peace and flow in grace. So it's that practice of mindfulness and know that we have choices.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I totally agree. And that's like the entire basis of what ascension is or what awakening is. It's like you always have the choice either to side with negative, conflicting agitation energies, or love and light energies that are actually going to recenter you from your actual soul stream. And and that choice from that place of where we all want to be at is kind of like, I guess, what separates from like people from if they're going to make progress or if they aren't. And then the thing I found with that is like the inner child has to do a lot with the inner choices that you're making. And those choices always are being run through that inner child inside of every single person. And like I talk about on my blog, and like you talk about a lot, you talk about that a lot in all your videos, reconnecting, getting into that state of play and joy with that inner self version of you that every person has. So what are the best ways you found to reconnect with and heal and live with the inner child?
First, embrace both light and shadow, and acknowledge and embrace the paradox that's being reflected within and out without judgment. When we become mindful of the fear and faith, sometimes we can get into the cycle of, oh, here again, I'm falling into anger, I'm falling into fear, I'm falling into doubt. But once we begin to penetrate beyond the judgment and just look at whatever it is within as part of ourselves and start the inner dialogue, start the inner conversation, we discover that what's behind the curtain of anger, of doubts, of insecurity, of fears are these little inner children within us that's wanting attention, that's wanting to be heard, wanting to be felt. And when we get into that heart space of simply feeling and listening to the inner turmoil and the inner peace, we're becoming one with the totality, and we engage both the presence of the inner child as well as the mother and the father and the divine higher self or divine spirit within. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's where a lot of things like take a turn for kind of just like being on the I don't want to say negative aspect, but like the incomplete aspect, because there's a lot of teachings out there that kind of like only refer to the inner child as a wounded aspect. When you get to the actual inner child, the actual blueprint, the inner child is God. Like the inner child is actually like pure source, raw source, like shining at the center of your heart as a sun source energy. And when you can get back to there, like everything changes. Like everything, you start to like just blast through like your actual like development and awakening of how you see it. And like there's different ways that people can go about doing that, but like it all starts, it starts in a child, and then of course the higher self. So in your work, you channel a lot of like Lyrans, Arcturians, Egyptian, like deities, through artwork. Like how, and then I've seen, I watch your videos, and my third eye is like more or less activated. I can sometimes see like beings coming through your vessel, and then you like speaking and doing your light work. It's absolutely amazing. Like how, for beginners, how can we know, like, if we have these Lyran or Syrian or just deity higher selves or spirit guides?
Follow what resonates. There's a lot of activations and videos out there. I always tell people, and I always remind myself, we cannot eat everything on the buffet line. Choose what resonates with you, and that will be the activation that reflects back what is within you that resonate. Within our DNA, the etheric DNA, we hold many, many connections with different star races. Pleiadians, Arcturians, Syrians, Andromeda, Lyran, and so on and so on. And Elohim, the elders, beyond words. But there will be few that resonate with what you are anchoring in your inner process in each moment. You mentioned Egyptian deity. At this moment, things started to shift for me. Toad or Thoth or Teoti, he's kind of stepped back now. And I'm more intertwined at this moment with ancestors of my current root in Southeast Asia, deities and devas. It's like reconnecting with the root and the ancestor grid on Gaia. So whatever resonates with each individual will be sometimes similar, will be sometimes different, and it will shift. The one origin that we all come from is the source, the all that is within and out. How do we know whether we're connecting to the Lyrans? It's about that curiosity. It's about, again, coming back to the inner child, curiosity, innocent, seeing everything as adventure, spirit that filled with creativity. It's when we tune into that, we will know that the current energy brings in the hint of serious, and that resonate with me. Sometimes people will be drawn to the Arcturian and you're not, and that's fine. My advice here is to be open. Trust in your imagination. Know that sometimes you will find that you resonate with the Lyran, same as other people, but sometimes you might resonate with other archetype of energy. Be fluid, keep shifting, because things always change. At this moment, what keeps me going are the feline Lyran, because they align with confidence, they align with courageous within the heart, and they really assist me of coming out from my comfort zone slowly.
Right.
So I hope that kind of answered the question.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. The Lyrans to me are probably like the most eminent for me. Like, just because of their energy is so grounded. It's so there's different types of feline beings. Like there's Syrian who can also be like, it's like a Lyran Junior, but it's like when you get to the Lyran Council, like those are like, I don't know, they're hard to describe. I'm not even gonna try. It's like beyond words. Like, which is why a lot of people kind of continue to always like see themselves as like a particular archetype. It's like those different signs that they'll have in their subconscious. It's like, they're like, I don't know, I've always been connected to dogs or wolves or cats or frogs or birds or something. It's always those things that guide them to find the actual spirit guide or lineage through the higher self that's right for them. So switching gears here, like like what are some of the methodologies like that you use to actually like control and still the mind?
It's a practice though. I first get to know the mind. I always recommend people, and I do this almost every day as well, 5 minutes or less or more, depends. Get into the breathing and just anchor your focus into each breath and become a passive observer of the mind, of your thought patterns, of the emotions. Get to know them though. Do not avoid them. Do not trying to suppress, and do not cling to stay in stillness. But just be aware of your thoughts, of emotions without engaging. Take note and acknowledge of the attitude and the personalities behind it, because that's one of the ways that you can get to know yourself better. And what you can do is that once you become the third person of observing the situation of the mind and emotions, you kind of rise into acknowledging the belief system that governs the emotions and thoughts. And when you are mindful of what belief system you are holding, you then have that ability to rearrange whether the belief system is serving, or whether you would like to change your belief system in order to serve the heart. And I'm a work in progress. I think we all are. We always rise and fall, but gliding on a higher scale of consciousness slowly.
Right.
But yeah, it's about that loving and be mindful.
Yeah, for sure. And that rearrangement, I like how you put that, because that's exactly how it is. It's like you arrive in a third dimension, and then it's kind of like you have to reaccumulate who you are through your own experience, and like self-actualize yourself by just becoming like consciousness itself, like that observer state, which is what some people see as like super advanced, but like once you get there, it just becomes kind of like an everyday thing. Like you said, like you do that 5 minutes every day, but it's like that's huge. Like if anybody is looking to like develop themselves, like who's watching this, like that's like money right there. Getting there and using that still point is probably one of the most powerful things that like is possible. So it's like, this is so important to me. Like, I just wanted to ask like one more question. Like, I mean, I guess I kind of already said this, but I kind of want to like get your take on it. It's like, why do you think it's so important to center and live from that heart center and be in that state of love and be able to do that, like whenever you actually like have to, like when you need to?
Because we always get caught up in a drama of the external world, whether we judge it to be good or bad, positive or negative, dark or light. And at times, if we are not mindful, we can get into that mode of projecting our inner wounds to others, projecting angers, projecting judgment and prejudice upon others. But like you said, when we develop that practice of being mindful of our inner realms, of our inner personalities, attitudes, and belief system, we take responsibility. We empower ourselves. And it becomes an everyday thing. Before we speak, we becoming automatically mindful. Okay, what word am I using? Before we react, we become mindful of, wait, am I projecting? Am I reacting? It's about being responsibility and aligning ourselves with the creator being that we are. It's not about changing the external, but it's about shifting from within. And the more and the more and the more that we can do that for ourselves, the more we empower ourselves and the more we align with that compassion consciousness, that true love beyond condition, beyond what if I'm this, what if I have that, the true core of self-love.
Yes, yeah, totally. I guess that's it. Like you said it. Like I can't say that any better. So I guess I'd like to just take a moment to thank you. I'm totally honored and blessed and grateful to have you on the show, for taking time out of your busy schedule and really stepping in to servitude and for the collective, so we can actually convey these lessons and bring out this level of teaching and healing for the people. So is there a place where people can view your art and get a hold of you if they want a session or one of your light work or DNA recalibration sessions?
Yes, my website is soulconnections.nalinee.com. You can also find my YouTube channel, which is called Remembering Love and Light Language, also under the same name on Instagram, on Facebook. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Alrighty. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and conclude this episode of the podcast with Nalinee. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much.